Number 5, that non-banks are not regulated. This is probably one of the biggest myths about non-banks that we find unhelpful and like to set the record straight now. First of all, we are regulated. We hold an Australian credit licence. It's the same Australian credit licence that each of the 4 major banks here in Australia hold. In fact, it's the same credit licence that any credit provider in Australia holds. It's issued by ASIC and means that we're regulated by RG 209, Registry Guide 209, and need to abide by the responsible lending guidelines. The second part is, the comments are often that we're not APRA regulated. APRA do have reserve powers over the non-banks and have said that they will step in when they see systemic risk occurring from the non-bank sector. Now, APRA does get a look into the non-bank sector through the bank warehouses that many non-banks operate. So non-banks will source part of their funds typically from one of the APRA regulated major banks, and therefore the reporting requirements that go back to those banks are passed through to APRA. So APRA do get a look in, and you'd be crazy to think that APRA wouldn't step in if they saw something untoward going on. The third piece is through our bond markets. So we run an RMBS program where we have a number of domestic and international investors investing in our loans. We're independently rated as part of that process, and we have regular audits going on these programs as well. So there is certainly plenty of scrutiny and oversight into these businesses. The fourth bit that I'd like to talk about is that some of the larger non-banks have received significant investment from overseas investors. A number of our share registers have now got alternate asset managers from some of the world's largest organisations. There's a huge due diligence requirement that comes with this, which also validates how appropriate our practices and policies are.